My sister told everyone I died because I was an embarrassment to the family, so I showed up to her wedding as the venue owner and cancelled it. We can't keep going without your love. Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling us your location. We'd love to know where our stories reach. The call came at 2 in the morning. I was elbow deep in paint stripper, restoring a vintage dresser in my cramped studio apartment, when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something twisted in my gut. Kendra. The voice belonged to my cousin Shanice, calling from Atlanta. We hadn't spoken in 3 years. Girl, I don't know how to tell you this, but I just got back from your funeral. My brush clattered to the floor, turpentine spreading across the tarp. My what? Your mama held a whole service for you at Mount Zion. Open casket and everything, except the casket was closed because she told everyone you died in a car accident out in Nevada. Said your body was too damaged. The room spun. I gripped the workbench, my fingers leaving prints in the dust. Shanice, I'm standing in my apartment right now. I'm in Las Vegas. I'm alive. She sucked in a breath. Then why would she? Because I embarrassed her. The words tasted like poison. I thought back to Christmas dinner 18 months ago, when I'd walked into my parents' house in my work uniform, paint-stained jeans, and steel-toed boots. My sister Desiree had just announced her engagement to Marcus, a corporate lawyer. My mother had looked at me like I was a stain on her Persian rug. Can't you dress like you have some home training? She'd hissed. I'd left before dessert. Shanice's voice cracked through the phone. Kendra, there were 200 people there. Your grandmother collapsed during the eulogy. Aunt Philippa had to be sedated. I sank onto my paint-splattered stool, my heart hammering against my ribs. What exactly did my mother say? She said you were living recklessly out west, that you'd gotten involved with dangerous people, drugs maybe. That they'd found your car wrapped around a telephone pole outside of Reno. She had pictures, Kendra. A whole slideshow of you as a kid, before you went wrong. Before I went wrong. That's what they called it when I dropped out of Spelman after 2 years to pursue furniture restoration. My father, Reverend Bernard Hayes, had built his reputation on having a perfect family. Desiree was his golden child, graduating summa cum laude from Howard, landing a position at a prestigious PR firm in Atlanta. Then there was me, the daughter who chose sandpaper and would stain over a degree. Did Desiree speak at the funeral? I asked, already knowing the answer. She gave the main eulogy. Talked about how she tried to save you, how she begged you to come home. She was wearing all black Chanel. Had Marcus right there beside her, looking like the perfect grieving brother-in-law. I spent the next 48 hours on the phone, piecing together the elaborate fiction my family had constructed. My Aunt Lorraine in Memphis confirmed it. My childhood friend Brittany, who'd driven 4 hours to attend, sent me photos. There I was, or rather, there was a closed mahogany casket surrounded by white roses, my senior portrait from high school blown up on an easel beside it. I looked young in that picture, hopeful, before I understood that my dreams didn't align with theirs. The obituary my mother had printed listed my accomplishments as survived by her loving family, and mentioned my brief time at Spelman College. 22 years of life reduced to a paragraph that erased the last 4 years entirely. No mention of my apprenticeship under master craftsman Jerome Washington, no mention of the 3 furniture pieces I'd sold to a gallery in Henderson for $8,000 combined, no mention of the life I'd actually built. Why now? I asked Lorraine. Why kill me off now? Baby, Desiree's wedding is in 6 weeks. Your mama didn't want any drama, didn't want you showing up and embarrassing them in front of Marcus's family. His daddy's a judge, his mama's on the board of the High Museum. They're society people, Kendra. I stared at my reflection in the bathroom mirror that night, searching for the person worth erasing. At 26, I had calloused hands and sawdust perpetually in my hair, but I was proud of what I'd built. I'd left Atlanta with $700 and a dream. Now I had a growing business, clients who appreciated my work, and a reputation for restoring pieces other people had given up on. But none of that mattered to Gloria Hayes. To her, I was the daughter who chose poverty over prestige, manual labor over a degree. The breaking point came when I called my father's church. The secretary, Sister Meredith, answered. Mount Zion Baptist, how may I bless you? Hi, this is Kendra Hayes. I'm calling about, click. She'd hung up. I called back. Sister Meredith, please don't hang up. I need to speak to my father. Chilly, this ain't funny. Whoever you are, playing with a grieving family is sick. I'm calling the police. I'm not dead. I'm Kendra Hayes, and I'm very much alive. But she'd already disconnected. I threw my phone across the room, watching it bounce off the futon. They hadn't just erased me. They'd made it impossible for me to prove I existed. Anyone who heard my voice would think I was either a cruel prankster or a ghost. My mother had checkmated me perfectly, or so she thought. The next morning, Jerome showed up at my studio with coffee and beignets from the French bakery on Main Street. At 73, he'd been restoring furniture for 50 years and had taken me under his wing when I first arrived in Vegas, hungry and desperate. Heard you on the phone last night through the wall, he said, settling into the Windsor chair I'd just refinished. Sounded bad. I told him everything. He listened, his weathered hands wrapped around his coffee cup, his dark eyes sharp despite his age. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. You know what you gotta do, don't you? Disappear. Let them have their lie. Hell no. He leaned forward. You show up. You show up big. Jerome, I can't just crash a funeral I'm supposedly the guest of honor at, or show up to my sister's wedding not like that. Smart. Strategic. He pulled out his phone, scrolling through something. You still have that $50,000 you made from the Patterson estate sale commission? I nodded slowly. Last year, I'd restored an entire dining set for a casino mogul's widow. She'd been so impressed she'd commissioned 6 more pieces and referred me to her friends. What if you bought yourself a seat at the table they don't want you at? Jerome showed me the listing, Chateau Bella Rosa, a historic venue in Buckhead, Atlanta. The current owners were retiring, looking for a quick sale. The asking price was $450,000, but Jerome knew the commercial real estate agent. Dante owes me a favor from way back. Place needs work, foundation issues, outdated electrical. We can get it for $300,000, maybe less. I don't have that kind of money, I said, but my mind was already racing. You have $50,000 for a down payment. I've got another $30,000 I can invest. We find a partner for the rest, take out a loan for the remainder. I've been wanting to expand anyway, and that place has a ballroom that would be perfect for showcasing restored furniture. I pulled up the venue's website. My breath caught. Chateau Bella Rosa. I recognized it immediately. Desiree had posted about booking her dream venue on Instagram 6 months ago, gushing about the Venetian chandeliers and the marble floors. She was getting married there in exactly 5 weeks. Jerome, this is crazy. Crazy is letting them erase you. He stood, joints cracking. I'm too old to watch talented people let their families destroy them. You're the best craftsperson I've trained in 30 years. You think I'm gonna let some uppity church folks in Atlanta convince you you're worthless? 2 weeks later, I was on a plane to Atlanta with Jerome beside me and our new business partner, Malik Chen, a real estate investor who'd immediately seen the potential when Jerome pitched him. Malik was 42, sharp as a tack, and specialized in renovating historic properties. The bones are good, Malik said, reviewing the inspection report. Needs about $70,000 in immediate repairs, another $30,000 for cosmetic updates. But the location alone makes it worth double what we're paying. We met with Dante at the property on a Tuesday afternoon. Chateau Bella Rosa was even more beautiful in person, despite the water stains on the ceiling and the cracked marble in the foyer. The ballroom had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a garden that had gone wild but showed promise. The Venetian chandeliers Desiree had raved about hung dark and dusty but magnificent. Previous owners had a stroke, Dante explained. Daughters in California, once it sold fast. They've got a wedding booked in 3 weeks though, so new owners would need to honor that contract. My heart stopped. What wedding? Some lawyer and his fiancée. Big society affair, 200 guests. They've paid the deposit, got the full contract. Jerome caught my eye. We can honor that, I heard myself say. Absolutely honor it. We closed on Chateau Bella Rosa in record time. Malik's connections moved mountains, and the previous owners were relieved to have serious buyers. I signed my name on the deed with shaking hands, Kendra Simone Hayes, co-owner. The moment the papers were filed, I called Desiree's number. Straight to voicemail. Hi, this is Desiree Hayes, future Mrs. Marcus Thornton. Can't wait to talk to you, leave a message. Her voice, bright and bubbly, made me want to scream. But I kept my tone professional. Ms. Hayes, this is Kendra Hayes from Chateau Bella Rosa. We've recently acquired the property and are reaching out to confirm all existing bookings. Please call us back at your earliest convenience to review your contract. I left the venue's number. Jerome and Malik had already started coordinating repairs. We had 3 weeks to make the place functional while keeping the aesthetic that had attracted high-end clients. I threw myself into the work, stripping and refinishing the wooden panels in the bridal suite, restoring the mahogany bar in the reception area, bringing the chandeliers back to life. Every night, I fell into bed in the small apartment we'd rented nearby, my muscles screaming, my hands raw. But I was building something. Not just a business, but my resurrection. Desiree called back 5 days before the wedding. I let it ring 3 times before answering, my heart pounding. Chateau Bella Rosa, this is Kendra speaking. Silence. Then, what kind of sick joke is this? No joke, sis. Just the new owner of your venue calling to confirm your booking. I heard her breathing, sharp and panicked. You're supposed to be dead. Funny thing about that. I'm not. Never was. But you gave a beautiful eulogy, or so I heard. Chanel looks good on you. Kendra, I can explain, oh, I'm sure you can. Did you cry real tears, Desiree? When you told 200 people how you tried to save me? Did Marcus comfort you? Mama said it was necessary. You were going to ruin everything, show up in your work clothes, embarrass us in front of Marcus's family. Her voice had shifted from shock to defensive anger, the same tone she'd used our whole lives when caught doing something wrong. So you killed me instead. We protected the family. Daddy's reputation, the church, Marcus's family's expectations. You couldn't understand because you've never cared about anything but yourself and your little hobby. That word. Hobby. For years of 60-hour weeks, bloody knuckles, and building something from nothing, and she called it a hobby. Here's what's going to happen, I said, my voice steady despite the rage coursing through me. You have a contract with this venue. I'm going to honor that contract, but we need to meet in person to review some details. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., at the venue. Bring Marcus. You can't do this. We'll sue. We'll sue the legal owner of a property for asking to review a contract. Good luck with that. And Desiree. Come alone or bring your fiancé, but if Mama or Daddy show up, I'm canceling everything immediately. Your choice. I hung up before she could respond. Jerome looked up from the floor he was refinishing. Cold. She stood at my funeral and lied to everyone I've ever known. Fair point. That night, I barely slept. I rehearsed what I'd say, imagined every scenario. Would Desiree show up humble, apologetic? Would she bring an army? Would Marcus even know what his fiancée's family had done? At 9:30 the next morning, I watched from the second-floor window as a black Mercedes pulled into the circular drive. Desiree emerged first, wearing a cream pantsuit and oversized sunglasses. Marcus followed, tall and broad-shouldered in a navy suit. He looked confused. She looked terrified. Perfect. I met them in the ballroom, standing under the chandelier I'd spent 2 days restoring. Morning light poured through the clean windows, illuminating the space I'd transformed. Desiree stopped in the doorway like she'd hit a wall. "My God, you're really here. In the flesh." Surprised. Marcus stepped forward, extending his hand. "I'm Marcus Thornton. And I'm very confused about what's happening here." I shook his hand. "Kendra Hayes. The bride's dead sister." His face went pale. "Excuse me. Didn't she tell you? I died in a car accident 18 months ago. There was a funeral, a burial, the whole nine. Except I was in Las Vegas the entire time, very much alive." Marcus turned to Desiree. "What is she talking about?" "Marcus, I can explain, please do," I interrupted. "Explain to your fiancé how your mother decided I was too embarrassing to exist, so she told everyone I died. Explain how you gave a eulogy at my funeral while I was refinishing a credenza in my studio. Explain how you cried about trying to save me from my dangerous lifestyle when the most dangerous thing I do is use a belt sander without safety goggles." Desiree's mouth opened and closed. Marcus looked between us, his expression shifting from confusion to horror. "It wasn't supposed to be permanent," Desiree finally said, her voice small. "Mama just wanted to avoid drama at the wedding. She was going to say you came back, that there'd been a mistake with the identification, after everything was over." "A mistake with the identification," I repeated slowly. "Of a closed casket. At a funeral. With 200 witnesses." Marcus's jaw was clenched so tight I could see the muscle jumping. "You told me your sister was dead. I comforted you. I helped you write that eulogy. I was protecting us. Your mother already had concerns about my family not being established enough. If Kendra had shown up in her work boots and paint-stained clothes, talking about furniture restoration like it's a real career, it is a real career," I cut in. "I own this building. I restored half of what you see in this room. I make more money than you do at that PR firm, Desiree." She laughed, bitter and sharp. "You own this dump. This dump is worth $1.2 million. I bought it for $300,000 and we've already increased its value. But sure, tell yourself I'm the failure." Marcus had gone silent, his hand dropped from Desiree's back. The distance between them suddenly looked like a chasm. "So here's where we are," I said, pulling out the contract Malik had prepared. "You have a legal agreement with the previous owners of this venue. I'm prepared to honor it, under new terms." "What terms?" Marcus asked before Desiree could. "First, a public admission. You tell everyone, the church, the family, every single person who attended my funeral, that you lied. You explain why. Second, a written apology posted on every social media platform you have. Third, Mama and Daddy don't attend the wedding." "That's insane," Desiree whispered. "Those are my terms for honoring your contract. Otherwise, I'm well within my rights to cancel. You'll lose your deposit, scramble to find a new venue with 5 days' notice, and explain to 200 guests why the location changed. Your choice." Marcus pulled Desiree aside. I couldn't hear their whispered conversation, but I saw the moment he understood the depth of her betrayal. His face hardened. He walked back alone. "Cancel it." Desiree gasped. "Marcus, no, cancel the wedding. I can't marry someone who'd let her family fake her sister's death to avoid embarrassment. That's not who I thought you were. He looked at me. I'm sorry for what my fiancé did to you. Ex-fiancé. He walked out, his footsteps echoing across the marble I'd restored. Desiree crumpled, but I felt no satisfaction. Just emptiness, and then, slowly, something else. Freedom. Jerome appeared in the doorway. We've got a corporate event inquiring for next month. I nodded, turning away from my sister's tears. The living didn't owe the dead anything. And I was very much alive.